everybody. Welcome to What Drives Us, episode 449 for Wednesday, April 27th, 2020. My name is Russell Frost. I am the host of this parade of fun. Look at this panel. Let me introduce them and get this show on the road because we're starting just a few minutes late. So my apologies to everyone waiting. My friend in Northern California, she is a writer, director, she is a multi-talented, multi-political, amazing human, Mackenzie.
Oh, you're really sucking up today.
You know what? I'm so shitty at sucking up. So is this where I just go like, I don't give a shit.
It's more normal for you. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. And here's the introduction I've been waiting all day for.
Go on.
Our friend in the Mid-Atlantic region with his brand new daughter, Kacey Green.
Hey, baby!
His new show model.
Oh,
Right.
there we go. I'm not paying her, Kacey.
Prototyping.
This is Motoko.
Motoko.
Yeah.
Hey, Motoko.
Oh,
Motoko
She's
doesn't look
so
very
tiny.
interested in the show.
she's waiting on the milk.
Monaco's
More
like,
interested in
priorities.
napping.
yeah.
Right. I got more important things, Daddy.
Ay. Well, thank you, Kacey and Motoko. So nice to have you both on the show. My friend in the Pacific Northwest, we share the left coast together, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello out there, and welcome to our show about modern transportation.
Move your hands. You
Oh,
can't
who
move
cares what it's about? We're just rambling for a while. And last and certainly not least, he's the founder of the Waterloo Region Electric Vehicle Association, the host of the Tesla Life, Mr.
Your
Mark
hands are
Godwin.
loose.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show, and let's get to it since we're a little bit behind the times.
Here we go. Somebody's echoing, by the way. There we go. Nope, still a little echo. Okay, well, let's get started. And last week, my apologies. I drove the new Toyota BZEV, and everybody, and we had just talked about it for the whole show. I pushed up all the news. It was rude and careless of me. So this week, we're going to talk about one car that I just drove, but briefly. And it's still really echoey. Anybody know where that's
The yellow
coming
box.
from?
George's headphones aren't doing the thing.
I don't even have a mic set up. It's a standard mic. I don't
Oh,
have an echo.
that's fine.
Okay,
Just try to mute when you're not talking. Okay.
I can do that, I think, as well. Okay, there. Hey!
Hey.
So this week, my wife and I drove to Lake Tahoe from San Diego. It's about 1,000 miles round trip. And Toyota was kind enough to provide a vehicle to do that. Originally, it was going to be one of the new Priuses, which, I've driven, I don't want to say all of them, but I've driven a ton of them and reviewed a bunch of them. So I was very excited. I haven't driven one in a few years. Excited
This
to
would
get
have been the perfect show to have a Prius Prime, because 449
Right?
is a prime number. The 87th prime number.
But there was a problem with that.
Aw.
And I got something different, which in its own way is almost as interesting, maybe more so. I drove the new Sienna Hybrid. It's called a minivan. I don't know if there's anything mini about it. It's ginormous.
Well, it's still
It's-
smaller than a cargo van.
In what way?
Not many.
I mean, we were
Shorter in height.
we were driving down the road, and literally, like, we pulled up a couple of times next to a Dodge Grand Caravan, and I'm like, "That's a minivan."
Right.
We're taller, we're longer. The thing is huge. So the getting down to it, though, after years and years of people on this show like me and lots of others going, why won't you bring the hybrid minivan to the United States? Because they've had this available in Japan for a while. They finally did. And the big question is, right,
Decades.
what is it? So again, I drove on Old Highway 395, average speeds anywhere between 0 and 65 miles an hour. Stop and go some places. A lot of times it was just nice and easy. But keep in mind, the minimum altitude for most of this trip is 4,000 feet. Most of the time we're up around 7,000 or 8,000 feet. So it's up high in the air. MPG, anywhere between 33 MPG to 37 MPG, which in a ginormous 45,000 person minivan.
45,000 people.
Okay, it's only like 30,000. I mean, the things.
That's great.
Huge.
For I mean, how much? What would the MPG of a gas only version be?
18
probably?
to 20
Yeah.
on a good day.
On a good day, yeah, on a very good day. So, the thing that's surprising is this is the 2.5 liter hybrid synergy drive powertrain. It's a big, heavy vehicle, and you know
That's
what?
the
It's
Camry, right?
I'm sorry,
The Camry powertrain.
Camry, Prius, it's all the same.
Oh, the Prius is up to 2.4 already?
Yeah, 2.7 I think is actually the newest one. They went a little bit bigger. I'm gonna have to check
Toyota
that.
to do his sportiness.
I'm sorry.
For Mr. Toyota to do his sportiness.
Oh yeah, I guess it's
Ah.
definitely sporty. It definitely hauls ass. It's got all the acceleration you want. It gets good mileage. If you follow us on Instagram, God help you. Thank you though. What Drives Us Show on Instagram. Also, of course, What Drives Us on Twitter. You saw all the updates. I'm working on the recap videos, but you've seen lots of updates of where we were and what we did. It was an impressive vehicle for what it is. Now, do I ever want to own one? Hell no.
Ringing endorsement.
Well, I mean, it's not. I don't have 17 children. I don't have a football or a basketball or a baseball team to move around. It just like, yes, sir.
If you have any photo or musical equipment, you take out or fold the rear seats, and it's a nice long square covered area. It holds a lot more than any of these SUVs and CUVs. So they are still practical, even if you don't have people to haul.
Fair enough.
But you got to haul something. It's a hauler.
It's a hauler. It's a big. Yeah, you're hauling lots of humans. You're hauling lots of gear. And that's thank you, JT24. Says same 2.5 liter engine. Yeah. But beefed up hybrid transaxle to handle the Sienna Hybrid, which it handles very well. The thing drives like a dream for an enormously big vehicle. I think that the MPG is good. I love the auto stop idea because, again, a lot of these things end up sitting in front of schools and in drive-thrus and idling forever and ever and ever. This doesn't do that. Is this perfect? No. Is this a huge step in the right direction? Double the MPG, adding auto stop? Hell yes, it is. And I never got a sticker on that, so I have no idea how much this thing costs. It was the XLE trim. We'll have that probably in the final review. 16 cup holders, like 8 power outlets. It's got all kinds of stuff. A built-in DVD player, which when the DVD screen goes down, completely eliminates rear visibility.
Is it a car or is it a house?
It's a minivan. Yeah.
It's like somebody took a Vanagon and slapped minivan on it.
It's kind of like somebody taped together 2 Vanagons, maybe smushed them a little bit. It's huge.
You could live in this minivan down by the river, though.
You could live very comfortably in this vehicle.
You really could. All you would need if you slap some solar panels on that puppy, and you'd be fine.
Yeah,
Come the apocalypse, you're set.
There you are. And I want to tell you, I will admit, I did a little off-roading in the Sienna. We went down some dirt roads, exploring some volcanoes. Nothing dangerous, nothing crazy, but you know what? It handled pretty well. Didn't do any snow driving, thankfully, even though it did snow. The snow was cleared off the roads by the time we left, which makes me very happy. I'd love to be able to report about that stability, but I'm glad I didn't have to.
Well, it's not that we don't think you can handle it. It's all the other jackasses on the road.
Well, there's that too. Yeah.
Especially the ones with bald tires that think they know how to drive on snow because they saw it on TV once, but have never actually been in it.
Absolutely. Okay. There we go. Oh, I see. There we go. Okay. Sorry, just getting caught up on the chat. Hey, JT and Bruce, nice to see you. Thank you for being in there this week. Let's go to Kacey Green for our first news story of the week. Not about his daughter, although I'm more than happy, Kacey, to talk more about your daughter.
More about the Earth Day baby.
and Earth Day baby. What's up, Kacey?
So, George and I are always going back and forth about the importance of mass transit, public transit, non-car transit. And then you two are both always beating me about the fact that that Muskie's tunnels might not be the solution that I hope that they could be. Well, what if we combine the two? So in Kyle, Texas, the Boring Company has a proposal to make a pedestrian tunnel, of all things. So you don't have to pay Tesla to drive you around in a Model 3 or Y. You can just walk. Or hopefully ride your bicycle, because a lot of places, the bicycles and the walkers are not to commingle ever, or you get a ticket. So hopefully both. It's wide enough. Just half for bikes, half for people walking.
I love when tech companies disrupt things that already existed and didn't need to be disrupted so that they could basically drive the people who were doing it beforehand out of business and then upcharge it.
Well,
That's all
for
I'll say.
this one is a lot more traditional. They have a tunnel boring company. The Union Pacific Railroad needs a tunnel under their tracks, and they, the boring company tends to underbid. So they bid $50,000 for the initial work to see if the tunnel even work, and they won that bid, and now we're going to see if it'll even do what they want it to do. And hopefully it's just as successful for the people who are paying for this thing as it was for the folks at Vegas. As we saw on the last show, Vegas decided that they were going to give a 1-year extension, hoping that the robotaxis come in so they can do a 5-year extension and not have to pay Muskie's profit and just pay the lack of the drivers, which is pretty cool.
So this is going to be a pretty small tunnel if it's just under a couple of railway tracks.
Right. I think it's going to be like one lane, one shoot.
It's going to be It's going to be the best tunnel. It's going to have
lights, and people are going to have seizures in it because of the rave.
That's right, and probably Wi-Fi. So there's going to be Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi would be nice because if you're underground, you might want to be able to make a Wi-Fi calling tunnel.
But no, anything that gives us good safe pedestrian areas, which.
Even better than this. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'll get back to you. I'm sorry.
No, go on ahead. Please.
It goes further to something that you and I agree on, of having walkable freaking neighborhoods. So the Plum Creek subdivision
are a big deal.
Yeah, so the Plum Creek subdivision needs people to get under that railroad track. Exactly.
Bikeable.
So I hope bikes fit in this thing.
Yes.
But you don't like getting hit by trains?
well, no. It's like right now, if you have a subdivision and there's a train track in the middle, people are going to take their cars everywhere. So now they can have a chance to at least walk and hopefully ride their bikes in this tunnel. And if there's shopping and stuff set up, that they will never break out the car for these local trips. And that is perfect for the planet.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, but tell me when it's. The thing is that we've got at least 2 of those pedestrian tunnels that are designed to help pedestrians get around some of our less walkable areas and cut to green spaces. Because I live in Davis, and literally most of the perimeter of Davis is farmland that butts up against the city with walkable areas that bleed into the farmland that often the city is holding in trust and having farmers lease if the farmers don't own it themselves. Because I'm not going to lie here, we also have a bunch of very capitalist NIMBYs. So there's a ton load. There's a lot of false pretense of sustainability and maintaining walkable communities that's tied to our massively overpriced rents and housing prices here.
Yeah,
so
if they don't protect those farms, then eventually the farmer will retire and sell it to a developer, and now you've got cookie cutter as far as the eye can see with no.
Well, they don't want. Well, that's what they say, but we have very tough building standards here in town, and most of it's tied to meeting platinum LEED standards where it comes to building. A lot of our projects are like that. What they don't want is density. They don't want traffic, and they don't want to interrupt the fact that they can basically hold tenants hostage, a lot of the students. So even if you're a longtime resident like me, like the next time I sign a lease, my rent will probably go up anywhere from 8 to 15%. And that's happened every year for 8 years. Wow. So
Jesus.
It's a combination of yes, this is a good thing, but when you examine the heart of the matter, it's complex, just like all human hearts. Who among us has not thought, let's save the earth, but grift somebody else at the same time. So I support the tunnels. And the thing is that they can really enhance these areas too. A lot of people just think of them as very boring, no pun intended, very boring things that you just walk through, like an underpass for a highway. But we've done some that have some beautiful, they're made out of with beautifully white concrete stone and well manicured flowers and everything else. And some that we even have, I think we're famous for one that's for frogs. Now, do the frogs take it? It was a nice idea that we had. It's very cute. But so I support anything that increases walkability in a community, especially if communities are not used to it. Because I think one of the things when I came to California, getting used to the fact that people would think, there is a store, it is 4 blocks that away. Let me get into my car to go to the store. Because it's like, unless you're coming back with like 15, 20 pounds worth of stuff, why would you get into a car to go pick it up? And
if you gotta burn gas.
Well, you could just walk. It's nice, especially in California. It's a nice walk. Just go for a walk.
It's too short for a bike ride. Yeah,
great.
One thing my wife and I have noticed as you're looking at like these housing apps, like 2 of the big ones, they actually have walkable scores for the neighborhoods, and around here most of them are atrocious. But I'm hoping that one day I'll see one with a nice high score that we can actually afford. That'd be kind of fun.
Ask for everything, why don't you?
Yeah. Maybe the schools will be right next door, right?
You could just live at the school.
No.
No?
Children are cruel. Even this 4-day-old, whatever she is.
4 days? Wow. No wonder she's like confused. She's just like, what the heck?
That's brutal.
I was okay.
That's brutal. Well, let's go to Georgia for the next. Oh, excuse me. Let's go to Mark. I'm sorry. I'm not even looking at my own schedule. Something about starting customer deliveries, Mark? I have no idea.
Oh. Yes, Rivian has started deliveries of the R1T, and they have they're showing up everywhere on the internet. There's a ton of YouTube channels where people are looking at their new Rivian, enjoying it, showing, of course, the tunnel under the back seat. That seems to be popular, and of course, a lot of the YouTubers seem to want to climb into the tunnel and show that they can go all the way through. I don't know why. But that's happening all over the place. But yeah, we put a link in the notes if you want to see one of these examples. But what I found interesting was that they started to examine, of course, all the things you do with a new car. So they're looking at panel gaps. They're looking at how much orange peel there is or is not on the paint. They're talking about, how the tailgate shuts and how the tonneau cover rolls up and how it's a little bit noisy and all these interesting things that relate to this particular vehicle. But I think they should give this a bit of a break because this is really the first pickup truck that's all EV that is available to the public. Now, the price,
under 125 grand.
The price has skyrocketed from the original pricing. So I think some of the models they're showing originally went for about 71,000, and now they're up to 92,000. So there's a big difference out there. But this is the first all-electric EV that's out there. It's more of a mid-size truck with a bed that sits around 4 feet, I believe, and with the tailgate down, I believe it's 7 feet. So it's kind of a mid-size vehicle as opposed to a full-size truck. But the Frunk is enormous. The amount of storage in there is crazy large. Again, you could probably fit a person in there. I don't think I've seen that happen yet, but don't wait too long. I'm sure that will happen at some point. Yeah.
But there's a young lady whose whole thing is being from the trunk, so I think she does Frunks too.
I think it's her thing is the trunk, not the Frunk.
I think I've seen her do some Frunks.
Anyways, it's now out there, and I don't know if have any of you seen a Rivian in the wild? I know I have not.
Video on it. Use my video.
Yeah, Kacey did a review of one. Yeah.
Wait, how'd you get one, Kacey?
So my buddy and I reserved electric pickup trucks. I chose the polygonal monstrosity, and he chose the much more respectable, reasonable Rivian R1T. He actually started with the R1S, and then his wife said, you can get what you want, and he chose the R1T. And they were going to deliver it to his house, and that one didn't pass inspection. And there was one in D.C. where somebody wanted a different color or something, and they said, hey, how would you like to fly to D.C.? We'll pick you up at the airport, and you can drive home. So he met me up here after getting his truck from the airport. They signed all digitally, and then we did one of these reviews of his truck. And he drove it over the next 2 days, drove it home because they weren't rushing. There's no reason to do that. They had a chance to test out the charging network for the CCS network, and they had a blast. And then immediately went and used it to build a flower bed. It's a truck.
Gotta get it
It is a
dirty.
truck.
Yep.
That's the whole
Yes.
point of the truck.
Yeah.
You can't
Yeah,
haul
and
things.
as Kacey probably knows, they've got a few kind of cool features that come with the truck that are unusual for some others. You've got, of course, the power available in the back. You've got the
Air compressor.
pressure. Yeah, the compressor can pump up your tires.
Optional spare tire.
And another cool thing is that it comes with a lock that is basically a cable lock. So
Gear
this
guard.
you can put this in the spokes of the wheel or around the frame of a bicycle or something that you have in the back of the vehicle in the bed. And when you excuse me, when you plug it into the side of the vehicle and you lock the car, that cable becomes locked to the vehicle itself and cannot be pulled out. So whatever you have locked within that cable is locked to the vehicle in essence and can't be stolen. So it's that's kind of a cool feature. And when you come back, you can unlock it and pull that cable right out and remove the product that you have wrapped in the cable. So that's kind of a new inventive way of locking things in the bed of your truck, which are really exposed to people around you, but they're safe and secure because of this extra cable lock that comes with the vehicle.
And a second feature of that is if somebody tries to tamper with said cable, they have a feature that's very similar to Sentry Mode attached to that, still also called Gear Guard, where now it's going to use the cameras all around the truck to record them to the local storage in the truck. And it'll tell you how many days before it decides it's going to erase said footage, so you can stick a thumb drive in there and capture to send to police to at least give you a police report, even if they're not going to do anything about it, so you can use your insurance to get your item replaced.
That's
And
smart.
of course, there's a number of people that are doing these reviews, and some of them are seeing problems with the vehicle, like the tailgate doesn't fold down quickly enough, or there's a bit of an orange peel in the paint for the first units that are off the line. So Rivian has got some growing pains ahead of them. They certainly have some things they're going to have to get around or change. The price increase is something that that people are going to be maybe a stopping thing for some people looking at the price that's increased. But if they get if they get a great review, if the truck works well for people and they enjoy it, then they're probably going to be able to swallow that price a little bit easier. So it'll be interesting to see how successful they are. Obviously, Rivian has also got some production issues as to how fast they can actually build vehicles and get them out to their customers. They have been basically they've cut down their expectations of what's happening this year in number of units delivered, with supply chain issues and other things and their own internal ramp up. It's slower than anticipated. That's certainly been reflected in their stock price lately. But I hope they succeed. It's a great looking truck. The medium-sized truck, I think, has a place in the market. Certainly an all EV truck has a place in the market. And it's going to open up EVs to a whole different group of people that maybe would have never considered the EV because it didn't satisfy their requirements or their needs to have some sort of a bed where they can haul things around.
You mentioned on the price change, when they did the price change, they didn't do it very elegantly. and we saw of people responding to polls about what you're going to do about the price change to your reservation. We saw about 10% of respondents immediately said that they had canceled their order and stepped away, while some others said, "Oh, we're going to wait and see. We're looking at things. We're going to reconfigure or whatever." And then after that backlash, what was it? Like a night or two, the company recanted and said, "Hey, if you were already in
within
line
2
for
days.
X date, yeah." And I liked that the CEO, he stepped up, put his name on it, and said, "Hey, I should have made sure this is done better. I'm going to take the blame for this. Buck stops here," and apologize to the customers. Very much unlike when they first made the announcement, where it's like, market forces, bye. And yeah,
I've seen one here last week, 2 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, but it had manufacturer plates. So
yeah, my buddy doesn't work for Rivian.
yeah. No, well, the Sienna I was driving, manufacturer plates. Everybody was like, "Oh, wow, how's Texas?" I'm like, "It's horrible. It's fucking Texas. What do you want?" I don't live there. This isn't my car. Which leads to 45 more questions. Why are you driving a car that isn't yours? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
Well, it's stolen.
It's the easy. It's stolen. That's the easiest
It's
answer
stolen.
possible.
Please stop asking me questions.
I may have to stab you.
Not in today's day and age. We need Russell to make it home alive.
Yeah, that's true. I could get.
Hey, well, so Mark, I watched that review, and there was one cool thing I thought that they had that I hadn't seen, and it was a bracelet to unlock and lock the vehicle.
Right.
And so if you're doing some adventure whatever, and which is what this vehicle is supposed to be for, right? So if you're going to go surfing or snorkeling or cave diving or whatever, your phone might not be convenient to take, or even a card. So you put on a bracelet and away you go. I thought that was a good solution.
Yep, you got a bracelet, a carabiner, a key card like the Tesla, and the carabiner is also your key fob, and phone key.
I didn't know there was a carabiner.
Wow.
Cool.
And when you lock the doors, it tweets like a bird.
Chirp, chirp. And the turn signals are raindrops.
Yep.
I love the little touches.
Tweet for a truck.
Yeah. And they just got a major software update. Our friend Kyle Connor, he was remapping the charge curves, but I was a little busy with the young lady, so I didn't have a chance to watch it yet. He makes videos of my length, so I had to set some time aside to watch it correctly.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for that. I can't wait to hopefully have a chance to drive one. Looking.
Oh, you'll love it.
Yeah. I loved it when I saw it at the LA Auto Show. Oh God, like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was blown away with a lot of the little touches, which I think are important. Useful, user-friendly touches, not just like, oh look, we got a chrome dingus here, and we've got this, and that's cool. But useful stuff like the bracelet, that's really cool. Speaking of useful, let's go to Georgia for maybe something that I've been whining about for years, an affordable electric vehicle.
Oh, okay. Because I was just like, wow, that's a lot of subjects.
Yeah, we didn't want to get too personal there, did we?
It's like a lot of things. But hey, you think electric vehicles are a little pricey? Well, this is kind of interesting because what we have here is essentially when we do those crossovers where the Marvel universe and the DC universe come together to create like a special 6-episode series that you really want to read, but you wait until they collect it into one freaking graphic novel because ain't nobody got time to be waiting in between all these episodes, and the price per issue doesn't make any sense. You might as well just wait for a graphic novel. But I digress. We are talking about GM and Honda teaming up to create affordable electric vehicles. Some of you are going to say, but there already are affordable electric vehicles. Yeah.
There were, and there are some ones that are not from not reputable, but not from well-known names still that are affordable.
That's true, and ones that you can get that look like a cat, which I am entirely for as highway safe vehicles. But you know what? The law doesn't actually believe me. So what's going on here is General Motors and Honda Motors. They want to develop a series of affordable electric vehicles based on a new platform. They want to use GM's next generation Ultium battery technology, and they're hoping to have millions of lower priced EVs, including compact vehicles. So, hoping to stay below $30,000, and that doesn't mean $30,000 with rebates. They mean actually just being at $30,000. We'll see if we get EV rebates or anything else like that to make it even more affordable, because I'm still pretty much like I was when I was 10. If it's over $100, you really are going to have to prove to me that it's worth it. I've upped that a little bit where cars are concerned. $15,000 is good for me, unless I win the lottery, in which case $20,000 is good for me. But I'm cheap. So $30,000 is what they're aiming for as their top level.
Is
not luxury, but for those of us who are fine with, I love my little Honda Fit, why not an EV Fit? Something that's coming in under $30,000. This really expands a lot of where people will be able to buy. And as those of you who have tried to buy during this crazy lockdown car scarcity thing we've experienced, also means that the used car market will be able to, get a little less loopy and stop charging more than the cars are worth because there's just so much scarcity. So this is supposed, they're working on the next generation of battery development, including solid state ones. They're hoping that those will be lighter, greater energy density, and provide more range. So they will give us EVs with at a much lower cost point because of the cost for lithium-ion batteries. So we'll see what they plan to do. They hope to start producing and selling about 2 million EVs globally by 2025.
Wow.
Honda's still planning to do their own EV stuff, though. So just don't count Honda out there. But this is their team up. This is their special thing, and we'll see what they come up with.
So you mentioned the Fit EV that was available, lease only. I think it was about $42,000, and so more than 15.
Okay, that's a little more than $30,000.
And you didn't get to keep it, but so it's also really responsible for GM not to be counting on the subsidies because they didn't get any. They and Tesla were the first two to sell out. Nissan like was the rabbit in the hare. They got right up to the line and then they fell asleep, and they still qualify somehow after 10 years.
What? Really?
Yeah, they still qualify. I was looking at a chart and I'm like, but Nissan didn't make it yet?
Yeah, that's
wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny how many manufacturers really dropped the ball with EVs and missed out on a lot. Yeah. Tesla, look, I some of you are very fond of Elon Musk. Whatever, dudes, worship that image in your own time. But I will say this for him: he stepped in, bought the company and the technology, and he championed it and stuck with it to make it a success. Whereas too many people were so set in their ways that they kind of poo-pooed it, shrugged it off, and didn't really focus on EVs, and handed Elon Musk a massive opportunity to build the brand as well as the cars and really make the Tesla not just an EV, but indicative of what people expect from an EV, a luxury brand model with pop culture cachet, and that he is rapidly messing up by opening up his mouth. But hey, who could be perfect? But here you go. He stepped in and he filled that gap, and that's on them. That's on every single old school manufacturer who really just blew the opportunity like that. And you got to give him credit for that. He saw it and he went for it and he stuck with it. And he's reaped the benefits, and everybody else has been playing catch up.
If they had made a compelling product at a great price, they could have killed Tesla in the cradle instead of focusing all their efforts on these stupid laws all over the place, trying to block them politically, they could have just said, "Hey, here's the electric Prius you've been waiting for. Here is the electric Hummer," and nobody would have bought a Tesla. But they didn't. So the other question I had for you is: this 30,000 by 2027? Is that in today's dollars or in 2027 dollars?
I think they're planning it on hoping for it to be. Let's be honest, it doesn't matter if they say today's dollars, because it's just going to be whatever it is if it actually comes out.
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to waste time on that. Let me change my answer, because nobody can prognosticate what the heck 30K is going to buy you in 2027.
A loaf of bread.
We barely know if we'll have a functioning civilization in 2026. So let's work on that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such good news, and I hope they do it. I hope they follow through with it. Whether there's subsidies or not, it's good. I would even take it a step further. I would love to see an aggressive federal program where we buy, I don't want to say everybody, but we buy a shitload of e-bikes, or maybe something like the mythical $11,000 Arcimoto that never came out, that may come out someday. Just inexpensive electric transportation to get people around, to help people get to not buy old clunkers because that's all they can afford and pollute, that aren't safe, that are, for the most part big, although cars aren't getting smaller. So can't say old cars are big anymore. Now new cars are huge.
The thing is that
it's
a great plan, but the problem we really have is that proximity to work for the working poor and working class is an issue. You can work in San Francisco proper and not be able to afford to live anywhere else except out by Crockett or even further out. I know people who do the reverse commute who live up here and work down in Berkeley, because there is nothing they could have bought at the time when they got the job and when they got the house. And it's like, so you're commuting 2 hours and you need solid transportation, but the better thing to have is proper infill development in housing. And NIMBYism is a real problem, especially in lefty, supposedly liberal, sustainable cities, because like I said, it's a cover. A lot of them don't want their property values to go down, because when you drop $800,000 for a 1,500 square foot condo, you don't want to have sustainable living spaces for people who earn less than 30 or 40 or 50K, so they can actually live in the cities that they work in and have a reduced commute and reduced need for cars, and can actually go for something like an e-bike, or even use those line wires all over the place, because them having 600 square feet that costs them less than $2,000 or $3,000 drops the price of your $800,000 1,500 square foot condo in reality to what it should be, actually $500,000. I see what you're saying, Russell, and I in a way I agree. But the other part of it is that we don't have the space to put a ton load of vehicles, even bicycles, on the streets to get people to commute and to add them into public transportation. The whole situation is a holistic one that requires good and effective compromise. And there I am wishing for ponies, because if there's one thing humans have proven to not be very good at, it's effective compromises where everybody gives a little bit and makes a little bit of sacrifice to have a good overall solution. But we'll see, because we're at a point where we have to do something. We are rushing way past any point of no return on actually stopping climate change and preventing it. And we're literally now at the point where we should be talking methods to mitigate the damage and deal with the changes that are coming. And we can't even do that. We're still too busy with too many groups jockeying for power. So I'd love to see somebody proposing solutions that are holistic and look at all the levels of the problems. But we'll see what happens.
Like the guy locking up all those scooters. We talked about that here.
Yeah.
I have one other question for the group.
Uh-oh.
This whole focus on solid state batteries. Now, if it's somebody like GM or Tesla or somebody who's actually building electric cars and they're just wanting to put them in place of whatever's already there, I get that. But all these people who are waiting on this miracle breakthrough in solid state batteries before they start making an electric car, what do you think?
Yeah, we've talked about this one. I think it's the wrong move. If you can make EVs today, and whenever you do that, you're building your market. You're building people that want to buy your EVs. And if later this breakthrough happens, great. Now you have better, cheaper, longer range EVs. But it's like waiting for the next faster computer or the next better phone. You're just going to be waiting forever. It's a dumb game.
Yeah, I don't think they're serious. That's I think it's an excuse just to
Mhm.
let people know that you're not serious. You're going to wait it out regardless, and that's just an excuse to say, well, this is why we're waiting, because we don't believe the current state of batteries makes any sense, and there's going to be a quantum leap, and we're just going to jump on that when it happens, and we feel that's the better plan.
Yeah, while GM and Tesla just slot that miracle battery underneath their existing cars, and you have to build a new car from scratch and a battery capability and try and figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, because they're not serious.
Yeah.
They're not serious.
I don't know. It feels to me like the waiting for the best technology in batteries is a great way to never do anything.
Yeah.
To enter the market and be competitive and spur innovation. Look, if you can't build a system that allows you to upgrade the battery quality, then just come out and say it. Just say you can't do it. And if you can do it, then stop bitching and moaning. Stop fretting about the potential future costs when you have to turn around and say, hey, we've improved the battery and now we can do this in our new models. It's just going to cost this much extra. Just eat the cost. It's better in the long run, and it'll make you look better as a company in the long run. And you got to stop thinking about whether or not the balance sheets in 3 to 5 years might be a little in the red because you had to do that upgrade to your systems because you finally had that breakthrough, versus looking at building both the shareholder and consumer brand loyalty by providing that innovation, dealing with the cost of that service, and taking the lead in the industry. Taking the lead means risks, and it means taking some losses. Fire a couple of executives. It's not like they're doing much anyway. They just sort of sit in a chair and cost you a lot of money and a lot of perks if you're really that hard up for cash. Because the workers are the ones who build the systems, they build the cars, they're the ones the engineers are the ones developing the technology, and idea guys, you might need just a few less of those and you'll probably have your money right there in the budget. Stop worrying about it, put the money in, put the effort in, and take the risk.
State of plant tree is yesterday. The next best time is today.
Yep.
There you go. Well said. And I have no argument with anything anybody said. So thank you, one and all, for taking that off my plate. Let's go to Patrick for a story about something molecular. I don't know. It got all scientific and I got lost.
So this is from Slate.com, and it's by Colin Gerlmack and Amy Westervelt. It's titled The Enduring Myth of America's Molecules of Freedom. So,
like Freedom Fries?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, Molecules of Freedom.
Yeah.
So this is often how fossil fuels are marketed, especially by politicians. So energy independence, regardless of which side of the aisle you're on, everybody agrees that it's a good thing and we should have it. The difference is which side of the aisle, they define that very differently. Is it renewable energies that are locally generated, or is it fossil fuels that are locally extracted? So this is a great article that goes into a lot of the politics that has been around this messaging, and the petroleum industry, some of the shenanigans that they've pulled, how they've worked really hard to conflate prosperity to energy and then energy to fossil fuels. So that gets them really quickly to a message of, if we're not extracting fossil fuels, we don't have prosperity, and it makes everything horrible in America. And that's how the messaging goes. But we can get past that. And there are examples, mostly in Europe, where they've reduced their carbon footprint and had their economies growing while reducing their emissions. So I mean, that's the place we need to get to, so that we can get to a future free from fossil fuels. Certainly, all of us here, we know that if you're spending less on fuel, since fuel efficiency or driving EVs is what we're often about here, that's more money that you can spend in your local community. Money that doesn't just leave your state or your region, and you can spend it on food and entertainment, and money that's not spent at the gas pump circulates more in your economy, up to 16 times. And that boosts everybody in your region. So this article goes all the way back to 1973 in the oil crisis, and it shows how the industry has taken advantage of every crisis that has happened to advance their agenda, including the war on the Ukraine is just the latest example of this unscrupulous behavior. The article covers a bunch of topics, like how rural Pennsylvania was promised an economic boom due to methane drilling, and that's not at all what they got.
Yeah, they get a boom. That's an earthquake.
Right, yes. Or coming out of their tap, they can light it on fire. Boom.
Yeah. An environmental disaster that makes Centralia look like trivia.
Yes.
Right, yes. So, and the last thing I'll mention from this article is that they covered U.S. oil production, going back to the oil shock, and how the U.S. has started ramping up production to the point that we're producing more than we're using. So great, right? We're a net exporter. But did that give us energy independence? No. Why? Because instead of just using what we're producing, we're exporting it, which then causes a deficit, which means we need to import oil. And why would you do that, right? Well, all in the name of profit. So it's not about energy independence. It's about profit. And it's not about prosperity for America. It's about profit for them. So yeah, check this article out, slate.com, Molecules of Freedom, and how it's a huge lie.
Yeah, and also please remember that we subsidize oil companies. We, the taxpayers, are giving these people money that are making money hand over fist. Yes, we are giving them millions of dollars for an incredibly profitable industry. But yet, really read up on things like where countries that are producing an item are forced often to sell them on the global market, even if not because they have surplus, but just because they are forced to be competitive on the global market. That often negatively impacts their citizens, because things that should be cheap because they are made at home are instead exported out of the country, sold on the global market, and then resold back to them their own stuff. And that's what's happening right there with our oil and gas that we're producing. So we're very energy independent, and we are being screwed coming and going because of that. Absolutely.
This is part of the reason why they are pushing the status quo so hard. Even if we switch to alternative fuels, they want you to come to a central place to get your fuel every day, and they want you to they want to control it all. They don't want you to think, oh, I can just go home and do that. So hydrogen, you can't bring hydrogen to your home safely with today's standards, and so you have to go to a place to do that. Oh, electric cars, that reduces maintenance, that reduces oil use, that reduces all this. So no, we don't really want that. Or if you do, we want the battery door to be sealed. You have to come to us to get it done. That's
Oh yeah. They are trying to take the alternative out of alternative. Not even just fuels, alternative cars.
Well, I mean, because it gives them even more profit. If we switch to electricity and we're more fuel efficient, they get to spend less doing the thing. But if they lock us into their system, everybody on that side makes more profit, and they could just raise the price so that we have the same out of pocket. It's disappointing. Yeah.
All good points.
This is why you need natural gas in your house for cooking and heating, even though that's absolutely one of the worst things you can do in most places.
Right. Indoor air quality is not a good thing if you are using, and I'm not even going to call it natural gas because that's a marketing term. It's methane.
True. Methane.
It's methane. Exactly.
Even brand new ranges fresh out of the box, they're leaking.
Mm-hmm.
It's and big shout out to Amy Westervelt, who is a must follow on Twitter, by the way. If these topics interest you, her reporting is top shelf. Wonderful stuff. Finally, let's go back to Georgia to wrap this evening up. I have to go back and look, Georgia. Oh, yeah. Okay, something everyone does except in the city of Los Angeles. Georgia, what is that?
Hey, well, who knows what the heck is going on there with Los Angeles? But let's end on a really good note. New York City. Hey, hometown, how you doing? There is a plan by the city council, and you know what they want to do? Exactly what we've been talking about. There you go, Kacey. Here's your walkable city.
Walkable, baby.
They want to spend $3.1 billion to fund the transformation of 500 miles of productive bike lanes, 500 miles of dedicated bus lanes, plus 40 miles of car-free bus routes going up 14th Street, and 38 million square feet carved out of streets and sidewalks for mini parks and plazas. Their plan is for a sustainable, walkable New York that frees up cars from being in the center of town.
Yep. So one of the first responses you always get to that is, oh, they're going to take away my lane. But you know what they take away? They take away 40,000 cars from, so now you don't have to share that one lane that's left because everybody that either is local or smarter has left the lane and now you have it to yourself. So selfishly, it's good for everybody.
So the thing is that now having ridden a lot of MTA buses, I don't know if they're slowest in the nation, but yeah, we do. It can take you a little time to get from where I used to live in Manhattan down to where I used to work in Manhattan. So the average New Yorker, they say, loses about 133 hours per year to traffic congestion. So this will speed things up. And although they do provide this, they do have a city bike service, cyclist deaths have been the highest they've been in nearly a decade. So giving dedicated bike lanes, and I used to date a bike messenger, so definitely New York City has always been pretty wild to be a bike messenger in and ride a bike in. I wouldn't have done it. That's why I don't know how to ride a bike. But being dedicated, having dedicated bike lanes would be a huge boost, and it would actually benefit businesses because New York City still relies on the bike messengers that ride around. So they feel that with the test case of the 14th Street busway, that's cut travel times by almost 50%. The new M60 bus lanes have cut travel times by 36%. And they feel that with reductions in collisions, 18% decrease in traffic deaths, simply because they're separating out the traffic from the pedestrian and public transportation traffic away from the cars. This is going to benefit people who use public transportation the most. So this is coming out of Mayor Eric Adams' proposal to increase pedestrian space. And he wants to create more protected barriers between bike routes and traffic, but it's just not as comprehensive as what the proposal is from the New York City Council Speaker, Adrian Adams. So I don't know. This sounds fabulous. I'm all for it, even though I no longer live there, but all my family is pretty much over there, and I know they'd be happy to have great transportation choices too. And you know what? Much like California, where New York goes, often you see other states going too. So it would be a great leader example for a lot of other places.
Yeah. And we've seen in, I think in Patrick's area, as well as in Scandinavia, that if you separate the buses and give them priority, that improves flow for everybody. And we've seen study after study that says if you actually remove the bike from the car, Like not just a little piece of paint, not a little flexible bollard, but literally give them their own paths. They can move on their own without slowing down. They don't slow you down, and there's less interaction between cars, buses, and the bikes and pedestrians. Look at how many, like you said, is the most dangerous place to do it in. It's the right thing to do.
Well, let's see if it passes. As with everything, as your friendly neighborhood local politics person, if you are in New York, if you know people in New York who would like to see this happen, don't be afraid to point this out to them. They have them read the docket, take a look at it, and talk to people in their city council. Organize people, show up, say, yes, this is something we think we want. This is what we'd like to try. This is where we want our money to go to. Because otherwise it'll all go to the NYPD. No.
Right. But even a partial win,
submarine.
Even a partial win is still a win, like because you can grow that foot in the door. You can't if you don't show up and they reject it all, then you don't stand a chance. You got to start from scratch each time trying to bring this up. But you say, hey, you got 10 bike lanes in. Let's expand that to 100 bike lanes. Let's separate the buses, and then just piece by piece until you get exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, sometimes you can get a whole package through, and sometimes you have to do piecemeal because you just don't have all the support you need. And next election, maybe you'll get more support for that other part of it if you all show up and elect the right people. And if you don't, you might get people who would take apart the package that you already agreed to and mess it up. Always remember that you've watched enough Game of Thrones. You've seen enough fantasy stories where people get relaxed because the danger's over. They got that one thing. You know what? Vigilance. That is the price of democracy. Constant participation. So if you like it, go on ahead and support it. Let them know. And I will put a reminder to myself to let my friends and family in New York know that, hey, I want you to show up for this one. This would be benefiting you too.
Was it Portland or Seattle that came in and expanded it bit by bit until it was where it is today?
I'm not sure. So I mean, we've done things like this where there's the parking lane and then the bike lane is next to the curb. So the parked cars provide. Yeah, on the passenger side, you still have the door, but that's still better than moving traffic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or getting doored and then falling into moving traffic.
Right. Yes.
Couple of things. As we've seen pedestrian deaths increase, New York is legendary for allowing motor vehicles to run over pedestrians and bicyclists pretty much at will. Anything to stem that tide of wanton vehicular death, that's a good thing. If it also encourages pedestrians and cyclists, that's a very good thing. If you listen to the last episode of the Autonocast, they had, and forgive me, I don't remember her name, but she is working on New York's version of Vision Zero and implementing more bike lanes and bus-only lanes and things like that. Super interesting conversation, and
Sarah
hopefully...
Kaufman.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Patrick. Definitely check it out. A lot of potentially good news there. As always, of course, the forces of evil are well-moneyed, well-organized, have paid lobbyists. They will fight whatever they can so that they can drive whatever they want, wherever they want, whenever they want. The rest of us, whatever. But I think it would be a little more civilized. Look at what San Francisco did this week, closing the JFK Promenade in the Golden Gate Park. Thank God. Yay. That was a ridiculous. I get for some disabled folks and folks that don't like to walk, being able to drive through Golden Gate Park was super cool. But you know what? That should never have been a motor vehicle thing. It should be a walking place. It's a beautiful park. And that's a step in the right direction. Close some of these roads to car traffic and open them up for people on scooters, on bikes, on foot, and let them use it. The more people that get to use stuff like that, the more people we have as a democratic groundswell that goes, hey, you know what? This works. I ride an electric scooter to work. This works. I can do this. I know this. I don't care what the commercial says about evil communism or whatever. it's eating away at that constituency that I think is the good news here. So thank you, Georgia, for that.
One quick thing based on what you just said. You know what?
Yes,
this is also why people with disabilities should be allowed to sit on commissions that do the planning and suggestions and reviews for walkable cities, for public spaces, because they are often prevented if they are considered so disabled that they cannot work. And if they actually sit on a public commission or anything else like that, they would lose their benefits. We keep a critical voice out of the decision making by this, and it's something I really would really hope able-bodied people would step up now that they know, and say that's wrong. Even if you're not earning money, if you are disabled, you cannot be on the commission for, say, if you were on the commission for public transportation at San Francisco, if you wanted to apply to be a commissioner, if you have any sort of public support, you cannot sit on that commission, even if you're not getting paid at all for it.
This is a job.
Wild, huh? Very dumb, very restrictive, and it's discrimination. So keep that in mind.
Kind of like you highlighted a tweet earlier this week, Georgia, where some guy was complaining about the aesthetics of a sign language interpreter, and he wanted to silence them. They would not be able to participate if they could not understand what was being said.
It got even worse in that thread where people were saying that having sign language was making deaf people illiterate. And I was just kind of like, let me just ignore. It's just.
Oh, so then they should mute the speaking person too and make everybody read if literacy was the problem.
Yeah, no. So there you go. But yeah, this is a great plan. It sounds beautiful, and I really hope they manage to get some level of it done. They've done fantastic things at 42nd Street and making that a walkable, car-free space. It was beautiful the last time I went down there. And I think that's something we really need to start talking about as we look at sustainability.
Yay! Well, thank you for that little bit of good news, and hopefully we'll see more changes. I'm going to paraphrase our friend Tony Schaefer, who used to talk about, things like, we've seen the meme, like, what if all this climate change junk is fake, but we end up cleaning up the environment anyway? What the hell, right? What the hell? And what if we make our cities and our roads a little more civilized, a little safer, a little more equitable for everybody? What's the worst that's going to happen? We're all going to be a little more civilized and live in a little more equitable place, and we'll be able to get around easier. That's not so horrible.
Cleaner air, cleaner environment.
Right.
What's not to like? Let's just be better for the sake of being better.
Wouldn't it raise your property values if people could actually walk in your area without having a smog attack?
Well, yeah, property values. That's another rant.
Well,
Okay.
I'm just saying, if that's the only language they speak their language.
Or reject their framing and go, you know what? It's not about your personal property. It's about the society and where we come together. It's about the public spaces. If your house suffers, well, that's your contribution to the society. I don't feel so bad for you.
No, but they're not going to listen to you. You're going to get rode out on a rail with that kind of talk.
They're not going to listen to
you. Yeah.
They're not going to listen to me anyway, which I think is probably, so I'll come out and say it. Yeah, they're not going to listen to me anyway. They want their 3-lane wide suburban roads. They want their driveways. They want their HOAs. They want the gated community, and they want to keep you out. They don't want public transportation because those people use public transportation. My wife and I were talking about trains and why Amtrak is what it is. And it's simply because the people in charge of Amtrak have no interest in Amtrak being an efficient, pleasant, and affordable service. That's why it costs you $1,600 to take a train across the United States. Sorry, I had to rant. Okay, I'm done.
It's all fair.
I'm done. Let's do some shout outs and go home now that I've ranted out. I'm going to start with Kacey Green. Where's the little one?
He just woke up.
Is she really just sitting there?
looking at me. She was making all these weird, noisy dreams.
Oh, there we
and
go.
now she wants
Oh.
milk.
More, baby, more. Oh, she looks a little sleepy now.
I think she's asleep.
She wanted this.
She's listening to me. It's sleepy.
Yeah. Oh, good burp. Good burp. So because of her, I haven't got as many pre-recorded videos out, but you can catch me every Sunday at youtube.com/Kacey Green. And at some point, you'll see, if you're subscribed and you got the notifications turned on, you'll see a ping show up about some awesome video will pop up. Take a look. Oh, wow, you're spitting up.
Oh, yay!
That's basically what they do. Get used to it.
No wonder you wanted more. You're going to get rid of it.
We're,
It could be worse.
I'm looking forward to your
Projectile
comprehensive review of baby seats in cars coming soon.
Right? That's the niche.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mr. Connor, what's going on in your world?
Some more milk.
Well, as always, I'm with the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and I blog occasionally. Let me show you at carswithcords.net, and I'm going to show some of the... can I share
There
it?
it is. Oh, yes. Your cigarette exhaust pipes. Very nice.
Yes, tailpipes are the new smoking.
Nice.
Yeah, and I've got some good stuff here. Come
That
check
was
this
the
out.
shot.
Oh,
Very nice.
Patrick's photoshopping some great stuff there. That looks great.
Yeah, my friend King Everything did that with EV, all caps. Yeah.
Very nice.
The Photoshop skills.
Carswithcords.net. Go to Patrick's site and argue with him because I haven't had time lately. So do that. Mr. Coughlin, what is up in the Great White North?
It's freezing up here. We're entering spring, and today it was like 28 degrees. So,
God! I just left that.
But it's jumping tomorrow. So today was the last cold day. So we're looking forward to spring second time. So we'll see. We'll see. I wanted to say, if you haven't already, please give us a thumbs up on the video. Press that subscribe button. Help us out. Doesn't cost you a dime. And of course, if you want to follow us through the week, all you have to do is look up What Drives Us on all the socials, and you will find us. Because, of course, Russell has got that TikTok going, and you don't want to miss him dancing. So subscribe often and regularly.
No, I don't have a TikTok. I will never have a TikTok.
So What Drives Us TikTok, you do not want to miss that. Every day at noon, Russell puts up a new TikTok video.
Just gonna drive people to.
I'm gonna get some hate mail for that. I want to see your fat wizened ass dancing on TikTok. No, said no one ever. I just realized I just said fat wizened ass in front of a 5-year-old human or 5-day-old human.
4-day-old.
My apologies, Kacey. My apologies.
It's all right.
Maybe Georgia can redeem me, please, Georgia.
Put your YouTube shorts on there.
Yeah.
I would be the wrong person to redeem anybody. I have a potty mouth. You guys know that. I'm here for swears and teaching the kid how to throw knives the minute she's able to hold it properly.
I love that.
The real feminine arts. Cussing and aiming. All right. Thank you guys for hanging out with us for this long. You've been here this long? You've enjoyed the show? Go on ahead. Hit like, hit subscribe. You don't have to follow us on all social media, but hitting like and subscribe and hitting like on this video helps us out a lot. It tells the algorithm of YouTube that this is content that people want to hear about if they are into EVs for sustainability or transport. So go on ahead and do all that. And while you're at it, head on over to Mark. He's freezing his butt off in Canada while he studies stuff about Tesla. The man is suffering. Hit like, hit subscribe, respect the work while he's up there wearing furs and fighting polar bears or whatever you do. Maple coated polar bears. And he'll be there with another show for you, telling you everything new that's happening because I am pretty sure some stuff is going on with Tesla stock, and Mark will be there to talk about it. And then when you're done, Kacey will be posting a lot of videos over at Kacey Green on youtube.com. Some of them might even involve a car, although I think from now going forward, it's pretty much just going to be, hey, look, a baby in its mind. So, which is okay, because that's pretty cool content.
Yeah.
We don't blame you, Kacey. She's pretty cute. Please do not try to upload software into her.
Oh God.
Systems are a little too new for that. You gotta wait for the skull to harden on the top, and then you can put the new DLC in. We're good on that one. Hit like, hit subscribe. Kacey will be back on it the minute he can, because there's going to be updates to all the stuff going on with Tesla. And you got that pretty cool Rivian video. You got to talk about all that stuff. Can't wait to hear about all that. While you're at it, in the middle of his Photoshop artistry at carswithcords.net, Patrick is going to be talking about cool things. And you know what? Maybe he might even blog some further thoughts on what he read in that Slate article. I think you should, because you got great viewpoints, more than you can share here in the time allowed. So go on ahead. There's lots of content that we're making here for you, and we are super, super happy that you showed up here today and spent this time with us. Back to you, Russell.
Thank you so much, George. I appreciate that, as I appreciate all of you kind panelists who are here today for nothing but the glory of being on What Drives Us. Thanks to everybody in the chat, Bruce and JT and Zach. Always a pleasure to have you folks in there. I appreciate that. And you're right, we do need to get back with Chris Anthony of Aptera. He's a local, and I need to scoot over there and see what's going on with them. It's been a while since we've checked in. As always, I want to thank Michael Mannering for his amazing theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. Buy a song, buy an album, buy something. Thanks again to Patrick Connor, Mark Coughlin, Kacey Green, Kacey Green's brand new baby, Georgia McKenzie, and thanks to all of you. You are the reason we do this show. Tune in next week and find out what drives us. Nicely done, Kacey, juggling baby and engineering. Well done. Have a great week, everybody.